Good morning. My name is Khaled Elmawazina. I'm Assistant Professor of Economics at Gulf University for Science and Technology. The main purpose of my presentation today is to investigate the hypothesis that foreign direct investment has positive and significant impact on productivity growth in African countries. We use here panel data analysis. It is well known that foreign direct investment is most important, often the only way of obtaining leading edge technologies. The main contribution of my paper is to overcome the limitations of the previous studies. Previous studies has four limitations. The first limitation that they focus on the impact on FDI on economic growth and total factor productivity, but my study will focus on the labor productivity. The second limitation, many previous studies are single country studies, so their results are difficult to generalize. The third one, that many previous studies did not test the effect of technology gap on productivity growth in African countries. The last limitation, that many previous studies have some econometric problems like indigeneity problem. So my task is to overcome these limitations. And before starting the explaining the main model, the relation between foreign direct investment and the productivity growth can be explained by the productivity spillovers effect. The main idea of the productivity spillover effect is that the foreign affiliates spending on capital training, R&D, and technology transfer diffuse to local firms through many channels, and this can lead to increase the host country productivity. The channels that are mentioned in the previous studies are the linkages between foreign affiliates and domestic firms, and the second channel, the R&D efforts undertaken by multinational enterprises affiliates. The third channel, the training of local employees in foreign affiliates. The fourth one, the demonstration effects. The last one, the ownership sharing of foreign affiliates. The relation between foreign direct investment and the productivity growth can be explained also by the growth theories. For example, the growth accounting frame work tells us that foreign direct investment can affect or increase the growth through its positive effect on the capital accumulation and total factor productivity. The second framework based on the new growth theory tells us that the competition between foreign affiliates and the local firms may push the local firms to invest in R&D, and this can lead to increase the productivity growth in host countries. The empirical studies show mixed support for the hypothesis that foreign direct investment has positive impact on productivity growth. One explanation for that they use different measures of technology of productivity spillovers measures, and they use different measures of the absorptive capacity. So for that reason, they have different results. My empirical model is based on the dynamic panel data, and they are based on what's called Barrow regression. The main idea of Barrow regression is that the labor productivity growth depends on the initial income and depends on the variables mentioned in Solo model, and also depends on other control variables. We use here dynamic panel system GMM estimators. Why we use the panel system GMM estimators? To overcome the many econometric problems, specifically the indigeneity problem. So the dynamic panel regression model tells us that labor productivity growth depends on the foreign direct investment and the technology gap. we should also, it's very important to include the country specific effect and the time specific effect in our panel data regression model to consider the increase in the output over time and given the productivity growth at the world level. The panel data set that I have contains 14 African countries, and they are all variables are collected from the World Development Indicators, and it covers the period from 1985 to 2008. The main results that the foreign direct investment has insignificant and negative impact on productivity growth in African countries. What is the main one explanation for our main results is there are 4 explanations for my main results. One of these explanations, or the first explanation, is that most of foreign direct investment don't flow to manufacturing sector. They flow to natural resource sectors. The second one, that foreign firms dominate the oil industry in African countries. The third one, that foreign direct investment inflows are highly concentrated. For example, 56% of FDI inflows to African countries in 2009 went only to 3 countries: Angola, South Africa, and Nigeria. The last explanation of my result is that African countries, they have weak host country absorptive capacity and they have weak local firms. So they can't compete with the foreign affiliates. What are the policy implications here? Based on the 4 explanations here, it is clear that foreign direct investment doesn't contribute to the productivity growth. The foreign direct investment, in fact, foreign direct investment contributes to the resource curse and the technology gap between African countries and developed countries. And by growing the technology gap between African countries and developed countries, it makes African countries more dependent on the developed countries' product and technology, and this confirms the dependency theory. For African countries to benefit from foreign direct investment, the African governments must increase their spending on R&D and improve the technological capabilities of local firms. The second point is that the African governments must increase the absorptive capacity, or the host country absorptive capacity should be improved. The third one, which is more important, the institutional quality in African countries should be improved. For example, Ghana, the corruption increased over time, and specifically here, the corruption in Ghana increased from 0.48 in 1987-1991 to about 0.7 in 2007-2011. By improving the institutional equality in African countries, there is a chance for African countries to attract the manufacturing foreign direct investment, or high quality foreign direct investment. What are the limitations of my study? My research is not complete, and I have to use some control variables. So some control variables should be examined, like human capital and institutional quality indicator. The for the future research, the first issue that they should look for a comprehensive measure of absorptive capacity, of host country absorptive capacity. The second issue, which is more important, they should use data at firm level. By using a data at firm level, they can distinguish between the productivity effects in developing countries and the technology spillovers effects of multinational enterprises. So the second issue is very important for the future research. If they succeed to find a data at firm level, they can distinguish between the technology spillovers effect of multinational enterprises and other productivity enhancing effects in developing countries. That's it, and thank you for your listening, and please let me know if you have any questions.